ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hello, welcome to Real ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
Do you know about hashtag #RespectMyPM? It was a counter-propaganda by PM's office against the slew of attack over PM Najib.
Oh yeah, especially the Tun Mahathir and his band of Citizens Alliance. And also the clown face graffiti it was drawn by Fahmi Reza.
Well, guess what? It was reported in the BBC and that hashtag became an online war.
Some supported and respect the Prime Minister hashtag, but not everyone is on the same track because some are fed up with the current administration.
Well, I think as a part of a nation state, right, respect is important. But is the respect towards the individual or towards the core values of the country?
Well, for me, I definitely respect democracy and unity for the country. Anyway, on ASEAN Daily today, we will bring you daily updates and commentaries on issues and events that are impacting this region. I'm your host, Arlene Tan.
I'm Grace Cho, and today, on Tuesday, 8th of March 2016, we'll bring you the latest politics and current affairs news from Southeast Asia.
Our top story today, former The Real Singapore editor Ai Takagi to plead guilty over profit.
So what happened was Takagi and her husband Yang Kai-hung each faced 7 charges under Sedition Act for publishing articles which promote feelings of ill will and also hostility between different classes of the population of Singapore. And Yang is denying the charges and will continue with trial.
One of the 2 former editors of the now defunct socio-political blog, The Real Singapore, I'm sure some of you may have heard about it. One of the editors is Ai Takagi, told the court on Monday, March 7, that she intends to plead guilty to charges of sedition. And her husband, Yang Kai-hung, like what you see just now, is denying the charges. But he will still proceed with the trial, which will begin on Friday.
So in an opening statement on Monday, Deputy Public Prosecutors G. Kanan Suhas Malhotra and Luciole Janet George, they said that on the website, patently false information was represented as being the truth. And TRS even resorted to outright and blatant fabrication in order to attract internet users to their website, all with the objectives of increasing their advertising revenue.
Well, they call the website, quote-unquote, nothing more than a cauldron of hostility and ill will, which allowed a couple who married in October last year to profit handsomely.
Right. Well, some of these contributions from ordinary Singaporeans they published on the TRS website were also doctored to sensationalize these fault lines and also create social divides. That's according to the prosecution. And the couple clearly considered this accuracy, priority, and the truthfulness as necessary casualties in pursuing their main aim of garnering high internet traffic to boost their advertising revenue.
The 7 seditious posts in question is maliciously exploited racial and xenophobic fault lines to attract traffic to the website. The prosecution added that this boosted the website's enormous advertising revenue.
So this whole couple the pockets sums of $20,000
This Australian dollars.
And to more than 50,000 Australian dollars per month. And of course, DPP Kanan told the court that it was evident that money was the vulgar motive of the seditious post, which targeted foreigners from the Philippines, India, and even China.
So both of them will each face 7 charges under the Sedition Act in Singapore for publishing articles which promote feelings of ill will and hostility between different classes of the population of Singapore. That is such a very interesting way of putting it up.
Yeah, but they also face an 8th charge under penal code for failing to produce financial statements relating to the blog's advertising revenue to police investigators.
And according to the Media Development Authority of Singapore last year, they ordered the Real Singapore site to disable access to the blog and its social media accounts, adding that the foreign editors were responsible for several articles that sought to incite anti-foreigner sentiments in Singapore.
And apparently, Takagi, she is in Australian, while Yang is Singaporean. So the MDA also mentioned that this was an editorial strategy to increase the traffic to the blog. And they're not the only one in Singapore, apparently, and thus boosting advertising revenue in attempt to seek profit at the expense of Singapore's public interest and also national harmony.
I don't know about it because, I mean, if that's how they claim it to be, then our local media is also doing the same thing.
Exactly, right?
But yeah, there's always a clash between freedom of expression and making a profit. But I think freedom should be the core of any media.
But especially when the nation is practicing the democracy.
Yeah, but anyway, Singapore has its own Sedition Act, and if convicted, both could face up to 3 years of jail and a fine of 5,000 Sing dollar.
Wow. Well, let's move on to the next news. Thailand has proposed each country set its own measures to reduce air particle levels according to their own standards, arguing such active measures could then be included in the ASEAN haze-free roadmap to control the transboundary haze pollution.
I'm glad that ASEAN is finally moving forward on haze. And according to Minister of Natural Resources and Environment from Thailand, General Suraksak Kachanarat today chaired a meeting in Chiang Mai with representatives from ASEAN countries to prepare for the roadmap to make ASEAN a free region of smoke.
That's right. And also according to him, he mentioned that ASEAN countries do suffer from smoke and forest fires every year, thus posing these health problems to their people is important.
It is possible that Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines and Brunei will agree with the Thai proposal to set their own measures to reduce the level of air particles to meet the safety standard.
Wijan Simachaya, who is the chief of Department of Pollution Control, he mentioned that ASEAN members have worked together to reduce haze pollution in the region. He also said we do not agree that each country could control or manage dust levels in line with their safety standard. It will not have any impact on neighboring countries. The problem of this transboundary haze will also be limited.
And Malaysia and Singapore have set the level of particles at 150 micrograms per cubic meter as their standard for safety. But you know, different countries set different standards and criteria. So Thailand and Indonesia have set the measurement at 120 micrograms per cubic meter instead.
Right. Well, meanwhile, the Thai armed forces also arranged a training course to prevent forest fires and smoke for more than 100 villagers in Somoe district of Myeongsong province.
The military in Thailand intends to recruit villagers as its network to help in preventing forest fires that happen every year, especially during the dry season.
That's right. Well, on the other news, the United States issued a new travel warning for Laos on Monday after the latest shooting attacks against the traffic on a road much used by international tourists.
While last month, the U.S. has already warned travelers to avoid Southeast Asia's country Sai Sombong province after the roadside attacks left 3 dead.
Well, now the warnings has been extended to Road 13, that's the major route between the Luang Prabang and that leads to Van Vieng, two of the country's most popular tourist destinations.
I haven't been there, but I would love to.
For sure.
But with the travel warning, it cited that the unpredictable nature of the violence and the lack of official information regarding possible motives or allow government response.
So these mystery gun attacks have killed 1 and injured about 9. The State Department added that, stressing that the violence is also continuing in its Sai Sombong province.
While the U.S. Embassy staff are banned for going to either of the places, and I guess they have to stay at home.
That's correct. And there are landlocked communities in Laos. It's usually isolated. But in September, it will host a summit. The leaders of China, Japan, the United States, and the 10-strong Association of Southeast Asian Nations, basically ASEAN.
Yeah, I wonder how Laos is going to deal with that.
Thank you for tuning into Duran ASEAN. For more interviews by Duran ASEAN, please tune into our website at duranasian.com. If you are on the go, you can always download our TuneIn app on your mobile. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels at Duran ASEAN and Duran ASEAN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. We always welcome feedbacks from our listeners. Stay tuned with ASEAN Daily, Monday to Friday, the same time, 1 p.m. GMT plus 8. You are now listening to Duran ASEAN.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.